Now they'll move it to Axe. Flip in the middle, don't score. The roommates. Bridge to Orlando.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Evasive Learning. If you are an education major or anyone considering a career in teaching, you won't want to miss this. Evasive Learning is an innovative educational consulting company that is revolutionizing the way aspiring teachers prepare for their careers. As a proud sponsor of the Lax Lounge podcast and Cabrini Lacrosse, Evasive is here to help you take your teaching aspirations to new heights. Evasive offers a comprehensive one-on-one coaching program tailored specifically for those interested in entering the teaching profession. With Evasive's coaching program, you'll receive personalized guidance and support to help you succeed in your career. They provide mock interviews, guided job searches, resume optimization, and much more. Their team of experienced educators and career coaches will equip you with the skills and knowledge needed to excel in the competitive world of teaching. One of the most incredible aspects of Evasive's coaching program is their guarantee. Yes, you heard it right. They guarantee at least one job offer within the first 3 months of coaching. That's an amazing opportunity you don't want to miss. For just $250 per month, Evasive guarantees that you will receive at least one job offer. Imagine the peace of mind knowing that your investment in coaching will lead to tangible results. It's an offer you can't afford to pass up. So whether you're a current education major, a recent graduate, or someone looking to make a career change into teaching, Evasive Learning is here to support you and guide you in every step of the way. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to secure your job as a teacher. Visit their website at www.evasive.com to learn more about their coaching program and how they can help you kickstart your teaching career. Once again, that is www.evasive.com.
Guess who's back? Back
What is up?
again. Laxon's back. Hello, friend. Holy shit, Mando. It has been
This is
way
awesome.
too long, my friend.
This is awesome.
This is exactly what people have been waiting for. You've been asking, we've been getting texts, we've been getting comments left and right. Where's it been? When's it coming back? It's honestly like kind of overwhelming in a good way. Like people would come over to our new place that we haven't seen in a while, and they'd be like, "So like when's Laxon's coming back?" And I feel like, ugh, like I don't know, like our schedules are really busy. Like it kind of fizzled out last year, but we're figuring it out. And honestly, there's one person that I have to credit this, and that's Mando, because I was 1000% kind of like not really on board to hop back on because like I'm really busy with a lot of stuff. I'm doing a lot going on. And you made a magical pitch that actually, when I saw it, I was like, he knew I can't say no to this. And he knew I deep down like did want to do this really bad. So shout out.
You did.
So we got this. Big thing. It has been a while since we have talked. And it's kind of funny because I was looking back at the last time that I like had actually like texted you, like SMS text. And it was like August over there was like a random moment that I had where I just texted Nick, and everything else has been through Snapchat. And I don't even think
in there.
I can't even like think of the last time that we saw each other in person. Like it's been a minute because you weren't at the alumni game.
No, I wasn't. I ended up working.
So it's been a minute, but we're gonna have some time for not only us to catch up, but you to catch up on what we've been going on with. And so for that, we've had a lot that's gone on. Our Fast Five, we're keeping with tradition. We're keeping that baby. But this is going to be the ultra slow Fast Five because we're going to start storytelling, and we're going to do the 5 things, our top 5 things, moments, whatever you want to call it, that we've had since the last time we talked on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be a good one. Mando, I've been yapping for the first like 3 minutes. Huge shocker. I'm going to let you kick it off. What is your number 5 moment that's happened since the last time we talked?
First off, it's been a minute. I think we have to go over the rules. Fast 5.
Very fair. 5 yes.
Simple answers. Even though we're doing it completely rogue, some people have to know it. Some people, they don't know it, dude. Some people don't know it. Starting off, me, my girlfriend, my brother, and his girlfriend. In August, we went down to Florida. We visited my grandparents in Tampa for, I think it was 4 or 5 days. Great time. We were down there for my grandfather's birthday, so that was really cool. But yeah, it was sick. We went out to dinner. We actually were down there. It was hurricane season. Luckily, we weren't down there during, like Milton, but we were there a couple of weeks before. And yeah, it was rainy, it was windy, but we made the most of it. Couldn't go to a couple of places because just the water got too high and driving just wasn't as safe as it could have been. But yeah, ended up being a sick time. So kick it back off to you. What was yours?
what I'm hearing from that is that you were the reason that Hurricane Milton went a week later because they probably like saw on the thing they're like, they're vacationing, like Mother Nature's just
Exactly.
gonna hold back the reins real quick, and then chaos. So shout out
And they
once
were.
again to Nick for that one, I guess. My number five moment, and I don't know, I've been up to a lot. I love a good side quest. We're gonna have a couple of these intertwined in here, but my number five is gonna be very broad, and it's gonna be a lot of things. It's gonna be all the adventures that I've had coaching, with ironically not Team 10 lacrosse, shout out Team 10. But my summer back home in Seattle with Cityside Lax. I got back and literally the first thing I did, I think, at the end of that week was I went to our training camp, which was at Fort Casey, Camp Casey. It's out in the islands of Washington. So like if Washington's like this, it's out over here in like the state, in the little like spit. Regardless, awesome time. Got to like reconnect with my boys, the 28s, shout out Cityside 28s. Hung out with a lot of my like actual friends that I haven't seen in a while. Met some new people, all the people who did coach with us this summer. Awesome experience, awesome weekend. I was probably camp counselor of the weekend just because glue guy was staying with
Always.
my boys in the dorms. Um, I won a 3x tournament there wearing all of my Cabrini gear. So like I had the helmet, I had the gloves, I had the sweatshirt shorts. I was talking so much shit to seventh graders, like even sixth graders were catching a couple of strays. I had a kid give me the best compliment of all time, which was I was doing like mock play by play. And he was like, "Wow, you're like really good at that. Like you should try to do that." And I was like, "Little do you know, buddy." But Camp Casey, so that was one. The following week, that Monday, so I get back from Camp Casey Sunday night, exhausted. Monday, I wake up to a text from our youth director. He's like, I got some news that's not ideal for you. There was a guy who was supposed to coach the 2031s, be the head coach, and he was on Team Italy for box cross. So he spent this entire summer over in Italy. He told me, he's like, so we're switching you from the 28s to the 2031s, and you're going to be the head coach there. You're going to make a little more money, but like, you're not going to be with the 28s. And I was heartbroken in the moment. I really was. I love that group.
Yeah.
But then I started to politic a little bit, and I was like, all right, like I will do this if. And the if was we were going to Long Island that weekend. I was like, keep me on the Long Island trip because I have a whole different reason for that I won't get into because I'm already going way too long on this. Keep me on the Long Island trip and make sure that one person and one person only replaces me. And they're like, oh, well, who's going to replace you? Nick Mormando. Just kidding. You guys thought. But I made sure that it was Aiden Rubio. Shout out Aiden Rubio, Swarthmore kid,
Shout
Ode represent. Made sure that it was him. I was like, he's the only person who is fit for this. He's come to our practices. He was at Camp Casey. The kids will like him. Boom. Set up with that. Went to Long Island. Had a great time. We got shit canned. Like the players got absolutely obliterated, but like had a blast.
Yeah.
Then the following weekend, we were in Denver, and in Denver, I was coaching both the 28s and the 31s at the same time. And the schedule worked out just perfectly where it was back to back to back to back to back 6 games on Saturday. Our
Wow.
28s went 2-1. My 31s went 0-2-1. We tied one game, lost one in overtime, and then lost like our last one like that. Not on the coaching at all. Put that out there. But
Never is.
then Saturday, like went out with all the guys, and it was like a high school reunion, like bunch of my like boys, great time. And then Sunday, championship Sunday, 28s make it to the championship. We end up winning because we make the Denver defensive coordinator rage quit because like he started going crazy on the ref, like some random call. We were up by like 3 or 4, and this is the team that beat us the day before. He starts going crazy on the ref. Ref was way more passionate about the argument than the coach, and the coach just didn't realize like, hey, I should probably back off now. So 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he blows his whistle, waves his hand, and he says, "That's game. Red wins." I literally just turned to our sideline. I'm like, "Go get your goalie! Go get your goalie!" And we were champions. And then my other team won the last 2 games, so it was like ended on a high note. Sick weekend. Fun fact: when I got back, double ear infection. Bang. This is telling you gets crazier.
Oh,
But I'm getting to the end of this, and remember, this is my first bullet point, so like strap in. Um, what was next? We went to San Jose for a tournament down there. Nothing too crazy. We should have done way better. We didn't do great, but had another great weekend with the guys. I was technically put in charge of like the youth coaches because our director wasn't there. Long story. And then our last trip was to Bend, Oregon, and it was electric. We stayed in this giant Airbnb. We had 17 coaches staying there for like it was a mansion. Like literally, it was called the Nordic Lodge. This place was huge. I sent a bunch of videos like to the chat. So like Nick, after this will go through Let's Get Low and he will find exactly what I'm talking about. Um, but that was electric. Great weekend. Made it to the championship with my boys. Fortunately, we couldn't come through with it, but just had a blast there. Nice road trip out of it because it's in the middle of Oregon, so it's like a 6 hour drive for us.
Damn.
Had an unbelievable time, and
That's
that was finally the end of my coaching adventures for summer 2024. And let me tell you, it was one of the best coaching experiences I've ever had. And I'll have an
and
honor. Honestly, I have an
what,
honorable mention of something, but like I'm gonna pass it off first.
what's the timeline of all that?
So my first one was the first weekend in June was Camp Casey. The weekend after that was Denver. No, was Long Island. The weekend after that, so we're third week in June now. That was Denver. So you can probably understand why I had a double ear infection after
Yeah.
two flights across the country. I had my cousin's graduation between Camp Casey and Long Island in Santa Barbara, and then after that, go to Denver, the Mile High City, up and down. So that was quite the experience. And then had 2 or 3 weeks off. I think it was, yeah, because then it was the week of we had week of 4th of July off, Cityside Camp, we didn't travel. And then the week after that, we were in San Jose. So that's like July 20th, let's say, 21st. And then that final week in July was Ben. So this is all within like 2 months.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I had a blast. It was
Yeah,
so
I
much
know.
fun.
I know you get blasted. Oh my god.
And scene. So that was like 8 minutes, but I just crammed a bunch of, and there's so many stories I could tell from that, but like we'd be here for hours.
Holy dude. I wish.
And
I drove to Delaware and Maryland like 3 different times.
that's the advantage of like being out on the West Coast is like you have to travel to places. And when you're coaching it, like you get it from a whole different perspective of like you also get to hang out with like I coach with some of my friends now. Like it's not
Yeah.
just I coach with random people. Like even at the start, like a great example, one of the guys that I drove down to Bend with, I met at Camp Casey. First time I had ever interacted with him was the beginning of June, and within a month and a half, 2 month span, we became like close enough where we were cool driving 12 hours cumulatively together. Like
Jesus.
that's what this shit is all about.
Literally.
And it was
Yeah.
awesome. And I will say honorable mention. I'm going to throw it out there because I had another coaching adventure this fall where me and Rubio went down to Baltimore to go meet the 28th. I'm telling you, I love that team. I would ride or die for them. If any of them are listening, represent MSU guys. Um, but we went down, road tripped it. It was like 2.5 hours, stayed at the hotel, hung out with all of our guys, and then coached them on Sunday. And it was so awesome. I loved it. Like, would do it again in a heartbeat. And that's just the city side family. That's what it's about.
That's so cool.
I think I'm finally done yapping. So what's your next one?
My next one would be arriving at Arcadia on day one. First day. So it wasn't first day of classes, but like the freshman got there that I want to say Wednesday, maybe it was the Thursday, I forget. But I actually make the joke all the time that they've been there technically longer than I have because they got there in the morning and I got there at night on that same day. Right. So I like saying that. But it was cool. It was cool. I moved in probably like 6, 7 o'clock at night. Ate dinner at my place with my parents before I went up, and about a 40-minute ride, so nothing too bad. But I got there and I moved in, and I had about 20 minutes to get everything out of my car into my room and like organize it before the entire freshman class came over. Because I think it was pretty cool what they do. They make the freshman class walk to every single house and all of our houses, we're, I'd say from campus, the farthest house probably a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles out. But there's this one long ass street that like all of our houses are practically on. So it was pretty cool. Like they came by, made them do a couple games. They ended up going to the next house, and we ended up all convening at the last house on the list at the end of the night. We'll get together, end up back at our place at the end of the night. It was a good time. It was really, really cool. First day experience. Second time. around.
Second first day. That's also your last first day because you're a senior.
First, last, second, first, last day.
Yes, we'll
Yeah,
roll with that.
I think that's how we're.
That's honestly almost like trick or treating, but college edition.
Yeah, really, and it was cool because I had that like you only really experience it as a freshman, but like you go in and you see 60 different faces you've never seen before, and it's like got to learn all these names, right? And then as the years go on, sophomore year, you already know everybody, and you basically already know the freshmen that came in, right? Junior year, you know everybody on the team, just got to learn the freshman names. Senior year, you just got to learn the freshman names. I have to learn everybody's name. It took me a good month, I'd say. I was getting a couple of the freshmen confused. A couple of them have the same names, different last names, obviously, but I'd call them the wrong last name. I always feel bad about it, but I think I got it pretty good now. I think I got it. I think I'm locked in on it. I got all the names right.
I will say that is the advantage of having your last name be a kitchen appliance. Is it's an advantage and a hardship because it's very hard for people to forget your name, and it is very hard for me to remember their name. I will never forget like at Cabrini that first year. I swear everybody I met, like every girl that I met, was named Marissa. So I was just like, I'm literally here's Marissa number 7. Like I don't apparently I've met her. Apparently she knows who I am, but like, did we really have an interaction? And
Everybody.
it is yeah, right. And it's like that's awesome. I'm really glad you do know who I am. I hope it's for a good reason. But like, come on, like help me out a little bit here. And you made a really good point where like we go into and we can touch on this a little bit later too in one of our other conversations. But like starting at a new school as a senior, like you're a freshman, but you get to enjoy it as a senior, and it's
Yeah.
that dynamic. It's like really, it's kind of cool. It's fascinating.
Yeah, awesome, dude. I was FaceTiming Cal on the first day of class. I was like, dude, where the fuck am I at? And he was like, dude, you're the opposite of campus. And I was like, thanks for letting me know.
You're like, where is Founders Hall? I don't know. Um, so moving into my second big moment that happened, and I have a really good list. I'm trying to kind of like make it ranked for how I feel about it, but I'm gonna go with a pretty big one for like my life. I ran the Philly Marathon in November, and that was something that, thank you. It was a goal that I put at the beginning of 2024. For those that didn't know, and you probably don't, because we recorded like 3 episodes, maybe 2 in 2024. I did a journal every week. Every week I remembered to do it or like actually did it. But regardless, I wrote this like absolute biography, just kind of like talking about my thoughts and everything. And at the beginning, that first entry, I put a bunch of goals. And one of them was to run a marathon, which I'd been thinking about doing for a while. Kind of just like one of those things that I wanted to do just to see if I could do it because I didn't think I could do it. And then I put it in writing in at the beginning of 2024. And I literally have like in text on the thing, it's like, oh, goal number 2, run a marathon, parentheses. Fuck, I put it in Word. Now I actually have to do it. So when the season ended, I started training for like softly training because you guys heard from the last stories, like I was very busy traveling around to the ends of the earth. So like trying to kind of build into a running routine, built up to a half marathon at the end of the summer that I just did by myself on like a closed course, signed up for the Philly Marathon in like I think it was end of August, trained all semester, led up to I did a what's called the Rocky Run down in Philly. It's like it was a half marathon, but it was a 5K and a 10-mile run. Bit weird, but it was awesome. It was so cool. Highly recommend it for anyone who wants to get into running. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks maybe, was the Philly Marathon. End of November, right before Thanksgiving. So I spent like all this time working up to it, training for it, going on long runs every Friday, which like as a college kid, like training for a marathon, trying to hit those weekly numbers and mileage and like stay on track was a challenge. But I found a great like system. I had stuff that I was doing and went out there. It was November 24th. Yeah, literally, I'm looking at the bib. Um, and went out there and I did it like for lack of a better word, sub 4 hours too, which was my goal. And I think the coolest part was not only like exploring Philly, and the course actually takes me through Manayunk, which is where I live, and I ran by my apartment, and there was a bunch of people along the way that were like there to support me. Like this is already his third mention. Like somebody's got a bingo at this point, but like Rubio was there, his girlfriend, our friends Jenna, Abby. Carrie and Adri, they made a bunch of signs. I had a private story that was called "Is Your Refrigerator Running?" So they made the sign that just said "Is your refrigerator running?" Iconic. Jen also made a Cabrini sign, and I am very upset that I didn't get a picture with that, but I was kind of locked in. And went down to the finish line. My roommates were there. Wyatt was my freshman year roommate, and like our boy at St. Joe's. A bunch of the other guys that we've met here. Like it was such a cool day. After that, we went and got lunch in the city, and it was like a very like holy shit, like you just did that. A really cool moment of you can really accomplish something that you put your mind to. And
Yeah.
yeah, so now I officially have joined the 1% of people that whenever they can have a chance to talk about it, they will say that they ran a marathon. Fun
It's
fact.
not. Yeah.
Fun fact at Thanksgiving, that following Thursday, I made a bet at Thanksgiving dinner with Nate's family. I was like, over under 20 minutes before somebody brings up the marathon. I don't want to bring it up. Over somebody's going to bring it up. It was at like, it had to be 18 minutes. And somebody was like, so I heard you ran the Philly Marathon. And I was like, under. And then obviously yapped about it for like an hour. But fun
Great.
to yap about running. It's a flex, really. It is. That's the only
That's
reason I do it, is for my ego.
I know that's why you do it, dude.
Pretty
You're a big.
good.
So for my number 3, this is a boring one, right? But I actually, funny enough, just got my W-2 form today. And if you know where I'm going with this, uh, I worked a shit ton, I'd say, in the past 6 months. Did lots of working, clocked a shit ton of hours. And with that, since I work at a country club, a lot of networking. Talk to a
Oh my
lot of
God.
your mind. I know.
That's my
You're the
favorite word. That is
you're the
my
king of
favorite word.
yeah, dude. You're the absolute king of networking. But I don't know if I'd say I'm the prince or if I'm like a squire. I don't know what I am, but like did did my due diligence, and I shook a lot of hands. So, you know, I would say that was a good thing. I made some good money, but also met a lot of people. Yeah, so that was cool. Did also like worked a lot of cool events. A lot of weddings. We had I actually worked on New Year's Eve. So that was really cool. Worked a double. It was 16, pulled 16 hours. 8 of them, so half of it was time and a half, which was pretty nice. 2 weeks later, um, yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of cool experiences there.
A lot of hours logged at the OB. Shout out Overbrook. Shout out.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. No, I love that you specified that you made networking connections out of that, because that's really like that's what the essence of this part of our life is. And
In my notes, in my Fast Five notes, I actually had it in parentheses. Lots of work in parentheses, networking.
yes, and that's KYP right there at its finest. Know your personnel, know your audience. In this conversation, my favorite word is networking, and if I had a second favorite word, it would probably be side quests. And you want to hear what was a sixth side quest that I went on recently?
Let's hear that number 3.
Number three moment happened, I kid you not, 2 weeks ago. And that is when I was sitting at work on Thursday and just kind of like doodling away, doing my job. We'll get to what I'm doing in a little bit. And I get a text in our house group chat, and it's from Nate. And it is he was just asking, like, guess what my friends are doing? Like two of his close friends, who I've met the last 4 years, Thanksgiving. Nick is the guy's name. He's come down to visit us a couple times. So like we're basically friends. He's like, they are going to Buffalo for the Bills Ravens AFC divisional game. And I jokingly texted back. I was like, wow, assholes, they didn't invite me. Not even a minute later, I get a text saying, yo, they like actually are looking for another person to go. Do you want to go? I look at tickets. Tickets are reasonable. They were getting an Airbnb. It would be like an extra $20 to go. Bought the tickets, signed, sealed, delivered, sitting at my office, and I'm literally just like at my desk, like shaking. And I'm confirming because it was like MLK weekend. So I'm confirming
Yeah.
with my manager. I'm like, yo, so like you guys confirmed don't need me on Monday. Like I do not need to be in this office in this vicinity on Monday, correct? They're like, yeah, no, why? I'm like, I think I'm going to Buffalo. Like, okay. So road tripped it up there with a bunch of Nate's friends, which is the funniest part of the story to me. Had a absolute blast. Bill's Mafia is legit. We're staying in an interesting part of Buffalo. which also random coincidence. I was staying like 2 miles from where my cousin lives and goes to school because he plays D1 Big Boy Lax at Canisius.
No,
Um,
that's right.
and unfortunately, because he's actually good at lacrosse, he had practice and like we couldn't connect because it was just there for like in and out for a little bit. But the tailgate was insane. It was also the coldest that I've ever been, hands down. The wind chill was, I think, -5 degrees, which, yes, it was the coldest that I've ever been. But at the same time, it really wasn't. I was expecting it to be worse.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad, but I was also wearing like 5 layers, and the coldest part of me was my hands until I put a hand warmer in my glove. Life hack, do that. It worked. It was sick. Um, just an unreal experience though. And the Bills won, so we got to like celebrate that. Getting out of Highmark Stadium is I not for the week. It took us like an hour and a half to get home, and we lived
Jeez.
like 20 minutes from the stadium. We stayed 20 minutes from the stadium. But yeah, 6 side quests and just one of those like spur of the moment college decisions where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like, when's the next time that I can do that? So that's my number three moment. And if that's number three, like, get ready because my number two and number one are fucking insane.
That's cool. My four, I wouldn't say is boring, but I think it's a good number four, right? All the new friendships I made at a new place. Dude, I'm was in an apartment with you for the past 2 years, right? Loved every single second of it, right? And we've always talked about, and I know not maybe not always, but we talked about it a few times, the possibility that this is obviously if Cabrini stayed open, moving out of their senior year, getting a place, having that vibe for a senior year, right? Well, now I do have that vibe, and I have 6 other roommates, which is
Bonkers.
run out super fast. I'll tell you that, dude, it goes quick. It's pretty cool. It's 7 different personalities, 7 dudes on the lacrosse team. Just everybody plays a different position. No, I mean, we battle every day regardless, but like we have goalies, we have deep holes, we have lefty midfielders, righty midfielder, lefty attackman, righty attackman. Like it's a really really cool group of guys that I live with, and then even outside of that, like just guys on the team and people that I've met off the team, like I'm not gonna say narps, but narps, people that I've just met while at Arcadia, just new people, and yeah, I mean you are an narp now, but it is really cool. You know, I don't want to give shout outs because I would love to shout out everybody, but I would say, just like Arcadia Men's Lacrosse, shout out to them. Will say, uh, I don't want to tie this into this one, but it didn't necessarily make my list, but it's in my overall list of one arriving at Arcadia, the new friendships, and then my fifth point, which is it's a good one. I'm not going to say yet, but like Dustin Melandra, he's at Arcadia, so like I see him on a daily
Forgot
basis.
about danger.
Right, dude? Right? So I see him often. I actually gave him some Arcadia gear that I made. Our lift instructor, I mean, Dustin's not our guy, sadly. He works with a couple of other teams. But like Dave Hughes, he's our guy. He's legit. He's great. Good dude. He played at damn it, why am I forgetting the name? We played him last year, dude. You would know him, New York.
Oh, Cortland.
Cortland. He played at Cortland. He's a good dude. He's really good dude. They have good people in the AT room, just all around, just like, I don't want to call them necessarily friendships, but like people that I've met along the way so far. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
No,
Good
that's
people.
that's great. I love that because that's exactly like I have the same experience kind of, but like on a different side of things where it's like you go to a new school, you're gonna meet new people. And I've met some really awesome people. And we joke all the time that our group, like our main group of guys that we've met at St. Joe's, it's all Cabrini guys. And it's like Cabrini baseball guys that we're like really close with now. And we had so much random beef at Cabrini for no reason. Like we literally, I think, made a comment to them one of the first couple weeks of school. We were like, "Where have you guys been the last 3 years? Why have I like not liked you guys?" And
Yeah, dude.
it's been cool there. Meeting people at St. Joe's has been awesome. Like kind of just like getting around, being active in class, like bouncing around to different scenarios, running into people on the weekends. Like you really do make unique connections. A story I
Yeah.
do want to tell that's not related to my next point, but my first day at St. Joe's, I sit down and it's me and Nate in the same class. We sit down and instantly this kid sits in front of us. and he looks. I have a Cabrini sticker on my laptop, so he's like, "Oh, like, were you guys that school that just shut down?" And we're like, "All right, cool." A minute into our St. Joe's career, and they're already just like, "Yeah, you're the Cabrini rejects." Like, "Yup, we played lacrosse there, whatever." He goes, "Oh, I actually play lacrosse too, and I just transferred here." Like, sick, no way. Like, where'd you come from? Ohio State. I'm like, okay, so you're like good at lacrosse. And he ended up becoming like one of a really close friend of ours that we helped out like the entire year. We sat with him. He lives like a block away from us. He'd come over every once in a while. He's from
That's sick.
Ontario, so like God bless the Canadians. Great guy. Shout out Keaton Zavitz. He's a stud too. He's unbelievable.
Hell yeah.
There's a reason he was at Ohio State and we were at Cabrini. We'll just put that out there. And that is going to not at all tie in to this number two moment since the last time we talked. And this is a tough one, like between my two and my one, because they're like really just standout moments. But this one has to come second because the other one is just like, I would say the other one is the best weekend of my life so far, or a top three. And this one might be in that top three as well. But this was Heisman Trophy weekend 2024. Got to go back up there. I got the little helmet here from it was the 90th anniversary, but got the opportunity. Talked about this last year where I was able to volunteer for that for the first year, and somehow, some way, they asked me to come back. So I must have done something right. But went up there this time. I went up on a Thursday, so I didn't have to technically work until I wasn't even scheduled for Friday, but I worked Friday. But last year I just went up on the Friday, but went up a little bit earlier because I didn't have class and I only had one final left to take, and it was a async like online test. So I ended up taking my final for first semester from the New York Public Library, which was an experience. Like that is quite if you get the chance, journey up there and take your final exam there because it was fucking awesome. Although the Wi-Fi was cutting out every once in a while, and I did have a mini panic attack, but it's okay. We're still here. We were fine. And I did well on the test, even though I thought I bombed it. But that's besides the point. All this, I was staying up at Fordham with one of my very close friends, Eamon Schaffer. Shout out to him. Fun fact, he's going to probably be visiting here in a couple weeks, so that'll be fun.
Cool guy alert.
Amazing guy, phenomenal, 10 out of 10 human being. But was staying with him at Fordham, and I guess the big moments from the weekend. I'll try to keep these like to the highlights because it was just like a really cool experience. Highlight number one was the staff uniforms. They were sick. I have this quarter zip that is just like incredible, and every time I wear it, I feel like the man. The polos are really cool too. Outside of that, on Friday, I get there and my big job for the day was to fill in for Eamon for a little bit because he was taking a final. So I was just sitting outside the media room, checking people in, giving up credentials. Similar to what I did last year. We checked in like three people. It wasn't a big deal. Before that, I'm just up in the office, like shooting the shit with everyone. And I get into this conversation with a guy who's talking about the difference between like a university and a college. Because he was talking like about Marist. And I guess Marist went from a college to university. And he's like, what
Isn't it
even
the
is the
amount,
difference? Pardon me?
isn't it the amount of majors that they offer?
Exactly. It's the amount of
Yeah.
majors and if you offer a graduate program. And that's
Uh,
like something that I learned through Cabrini because that was like, spoiler alert, part of our downfall was becoming a university. Explained that to him and he was like, wow, like how do you know all this stuff about it? It's like, well, I learned the hard way. My school closed, but now I go to St. Joe's. About like 20, 30 minutes later, just kind of sitting there, like shooting the shit with Eamon's brother, who's helping out with it too. And he comes over and he's like, St. Joe's, I got a job for you. Come with me. And I literally stood up and I looked at Eamon's brother and I was like, I think a part of me just died that he calls me by the name St. Joe's, but we're going to roll with it. To go down and he fills me and he's like, we're going to go to the media room. We're going to grab the trophy and we have to move it to like this spot somewhere. We're at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. Incredible. I still don't know why they let me in there. Like I'm so out of place. But regardless, we walk into the media room. Well, it's during the press conference for the winners. So like all four are standing there and they're doing the photo op with the trophy. And then we just like walk in and grab the trophy. Before that happens, Brian Hood, who's a Cabrini alum,
yeah.
does cinematography for Princeton. Ironically, I played box with him this fall. Great guy. He was there. He had media credentials. So I went up to him just to fuck with him. I was like, excuse me, sir, can I see your like credential? He whips it out, looks at me. He's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm in my official shit. I'm like, "I'll explain later. I actually have to I have to go." So we took the trophy, we wheeled it up to the sixth floor onto this like balcony area. What I didn't know until I got onto that balcony was if you guys have ever seen like the official shot of all the winners in Times Square where they have like the ball thing in the background, what was that? So like I'm sitting right here watching Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter get their photos with the Heisman Trophy in front of Times Square, the group shots, everything. And it's like 25, 30 degrees. I'm just in the polo because I didn't realize I was going outside. So I'm just sitting there like shaking, freezing. Like this is really cool. That wraps up. We have to bring the trophy back to the media room. I'm trying to like coordinate with the guy who I was helping out with about like what we're gonna do. Well, as I'm standing there, the winners are like coordinating what they're gonna do next. I think had some off time, whatever. Well, they circle around me because our head guy just like stood in front of me or like moved in front of me. So I look to my left and it's like, oh, what's up, Dylan Gabriel? Okay, Ashton Genty's right there. Fucking Cam Ward's looking over my shoulder. Travis Hunter's on the other one. I literally like leaped out of there as sneakily as I can, but I was like, what the fuck just happened? I was not supposed to be there at all. So that was
Holy shit.
crazy moment number one. Uh, and that was Friday. Saturday was the day of the ceremony. And the coolest moment that I had on the day of the ceremony was actually after the ceremony. So we get to walk and shit from like the balcony high rise. Unreal. I don't think it'll ever get old. Travis wins. The second that he finishes his speech, we go outside and we start waiting for our buses because my main job was being a bus monitor where I'm literally sitting in the passenger seat texting our director like, hey, we're here. Hey, we're here. We've made it to the hotel. We're coming back. Make sure everyone gets there. Um, Notable names that I had in my car, I had Johnny Rogers and Doug Flutie, which I'm going to say that's it, but like those are two really good guys.
That man
But
fan.
other guys, yeah, other guys had like former winners, had like finalists. I kind of got like the short end of the stick. I had a lot of media people, but like either way, made up for it here because we're standing outside. My car is across the street, so I'm gonna be there for a minute, just like kind of escorting people into the cars. And there's a whole bunch of paparazzi. There's probably like 50 or 60 people just trying to get like autographs, standing outside. So I'm like basically a security guard, like keeping them back, creating a lane, and just shoveling these people into the cars. A little bit goes by, and we had three doors. So there's the left door, the middle door, and the right door. We were trying to shovel everyone out the left door because it was the easiest path to the vans, whatever. Well, Johnny Manziel and Mark Ingram, they come up and everyone starts going nuts. They see Johnny football. They're all trying to get their pictures, their autographs. And like for context, some of the other people that were going out the right door, they had different plans for how they were getting home. So we weren't worried about that. Like the Oregon AD, Dan Lanning, all them, they went out that door and they had their own private transportation. Probably because they had practice the next day. But regardless, they went out the right door. They did their own thing. So Johnny and Mark come out the right door. And I'm standing there probably like 10, 15 feet away. I see that. And I'm like, all right, cool. They're going to be fine. Like they have their own thing, whatever. Well, Mark comes out like protecting Johnny. Like he's a security guard. Like, no photos, no photos. Put it down. Get back, get back. And they're like standing there, like looking around. They're like trying to figure out where to go. And so I go up to them and I'm like, yo, are you guys in the vans? They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I fucking jump into action and I'm like, here we go, baby, put my hand on Johnny Manziel's back and start shoving him. I'm like, you guys are coming with me. Let's go. Let's go. Start shoving people back. I'm fucking pushing Johnny Manziel and Mark Ingram through Times Square, New York to get into these vans. At
You
one
got their
point,
you got their six.
at one point, a guy like jumped out to try to get a picture, and I literally had to be like, "Get the fuck back! Get the fuck back!" I'm so locked in. I like blacked out. Not really, because I remember everything, but I was so in the zone where I'm like, I know for a fact I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I'm going to pretend my ass off that this is part of my job. So I'm like getting people there, whatever, like walking with them, making sure everyone's good, get them into the van, come back, and I stand at my position and I'm literally like, I turn to the high schooler who was another volunteer next to me, and I'm like, I'm never washing my right hand ever again. That was one of the coolest things that I've ever done. one of the guys behind me who's like part of the crowd was literally like, even this guy thinks that was fucking sick. And I turned around, I'm like, "Hey, yeah, that's fucking Johnny Football. Like, I remember watching his highlights. I watched him at Texas A&M. Like, I watched him fill out in the league. Dude, that's the man." Um, and then that kid behind me took a selfie with me because he was like, "This guy knows Johnny Manziel." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, we're best friends."
Yeah.
And then the final, to finally put the bow on this, the final cool moment from that weekend was that night because we get back at like probably 10:30, and we have a bunch of stuff to do to set up for a reception that happens on Sunday. Well, we got news that we would be staying in a hotel room at the Marquee for free on the 36th floor, 43rd floor, one of the two, in Times Square, in a skyscraper with a view of the city. It was
Holy
absolutely incredible. Had no idea that was going to happen until like the day of. So I got to have basically the coolest sleepover of all time with two of my friends in Times Square, and
that is
that
so
is Heisman Trophy weekend 2024 for me. And like I said, if that's number two, number one is going to blow you away.
I
And
hope
it's
it's
so
not.
funny. It's so funny because like I obviously I know where this is going, and this is such the first one is such a me pick that if people have never interacted with me ever, they will pick up who I am in one story. But before we get to that, kick us off with your number one moment since the last time we pod did.
We talked about my last, second, first, last day already.
Second, first, last
Something like that.
day.
So this last first day of fall ball. I'm talking about fall ball as a whole. Last first
Following.
fall ball. First last fall. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, fall ball. It was sick. It was a good time. Really, just getting back on the field, different jersey, weird. But just playing on a different field and all that is just weird. It's but I put in a lot of work in the off season and going there and just like trying to get used to the turf and whatnot. But it was cool. It's really cool. Just playing with a different group of guys. As weird as it is, learning new tendencies and trying to create chemistry with new people, and learning about the goalies and like what their strong suits are, and just small things, and like trying to really like conform to what the offense there is, and getting rid of what I previously have known. We worked on pull passes fucking every single day last year, dude. Every fucking day we worked on pull passes. They've like basically outlawed pull passes. So like I get there, pull pass, and the one kid's like, "Yeah, we don't do that." And I was like, "Well, fuck, I've done that. Like it's ingrained. It's in my head." And I'm like, it took me a good 2 weeks before wasn't throwing pull passes anymore. Like out of just pure natural like instinct because it was just ingrained in my head. Like small things that were like really like looking back on it, super fun to like just like look back on and like reminisce almost like that. It was a great last fall ball to have, in my opinion. We scrimmaged Washington College, who we've never played before. Watched a shit ton of film on them when they're playing, people we've played, but never got to play them. So it was cool being on the field with guys from that school. We actually did some damage too. I think final score was like 10-8, something like that. And we were the winners. So, I mean, and watching the film back on that, like if we had just another week of preparation, like there's so many more things that we do right. And, I'm sure they would have been the same. But, like we're looking really, really good. We had Chestnut Hill also, but funny enough, we actually see Chestnut Hill this upcoming Saturday. We have a two team scrimmage, or 3-team play day rather, I should say, between Chestnut Hill, ourselves, and Penn Tech College over in what is it, Williamsburg? Not Williamsburg, whatever it is, out near like Lycoming and like College Station. So it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. My buddy CJ, he plays over at Penn Tech, so that'll be pretty cool. I've never got to play him before. Played Johnny, but never played CJ. Guys that I've played my entire life with, so that'll be pretty cool. And he's a D midi, so hopefully we'll be on the field at the same time. Me playing some attack or midi, him playing midfield. It'll be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean,
So
fall ball as a whole it was sick.
we're not going to let that slip. Are you playing attack or are you playing midi?
I've been playing a lot of attack, but in the talks I've had with Coach Mita, it's seeming like it's going to be a game time decision, day to day, whether I'm coming out of the box. It could be quarter to quarter too. You never know. whether I'm coming out of the box, playing attack, whatever it is. But yeah, and I started against WAC playing point, um, and then second quarter I was coming out of the box, and then but yeah, happy to just be on the field. Honestly, just playing lacrosse, balling out. It's my last year, man. And that's like something that we've talked about a lot, me and coach, and then just senior class in general. It's our last year. I'm banged up now, but I could care less. I'm still going to go out there tomorrow and play. That's the
Oh
goal.
my
Get to the end of the
God.
year, whether just ball out.
It's
It's
such
crazy
a
to talk
simple.
about. It's fucking weird to talk about because like had that experience last year. It's obviously last year was a fucking anomaly. Be real, but like having that last year, and that was like, I mean, we lost to C, and I bawled my eyes out. I was extremely sad. It
I
was a death.
cried into your shoulders.
I know, I cried into yours. Like it was a death. It was a true death. But understanding that you guys, like you, Nate, Gers, those guys, like that truly was a death, and I still have that one more year. Almost like not necessarily saying for you guys, but like I'm gonna put everything out there. Because why wouldn't I, right? In 20 years, I'm gonna look back and just be pissed off if I didn't. You know.
God, that is so beautiful. And I mean, it's something that like, because a lot of people, I think I get a question every other week about why I'm not playing. Like one of the St. Joe's guys that I met who like he knows my family, so he figured out that like a fridge goes to St. Joe's, and the second that he put two and two together, he was like, oh my gosh, like you were at Cabrini, this, that, the other. He's like, why didn't kind of like I don't understand why they didn't give you guys an opportunity to just walk on and like come join the team. And I literally laughed in his face and I said, dude, if we had the opportunity to walk on, I would bet my life savings that none of us would have taken it because
Not
the
saying
jump from Division 3, like mid to high level D3 to straight high level D1 is absurd. Like I go
yeah.
by watching their practices, which one thing that I really don't like about St. Joe's, if I was a lacrosse player there, the field is on the main path that everybody walks by to get to the parking garage, to get to the parking lot, to get to class. Thousands of people watch you practice. Cabrini, it was more like secluded. Like if we saw somebody watching us, we would know. And we'd be like, oh, great. Like Alec is watching us from the trees right now. Like that's awesome. Or like a random dad will pull up. But every St. Joe student, if they walk by the field, can watch you practice and can see every mistake that you make. And like every time that you get roasted by your coach. So that's one thing I didn't like. But
Yeah.
also like I keep saying that like I didn't choose to play somewhere else because I don't think you mentioned a little bit like I don't think I could wear another jersey and like feel the same about it. Like it'd feel like I'm cheating, right?
Yeah.
Um
I can
and
see
and
that.
that's not to say like the guys that are playing elsewhere like oh they're cheating or whatever. It's like no, it's like that's just like that's how attached I was to that program and I was like anybody who listened to any of these episodes knows that I'm a Cabrini ride or die and I still wear my
So,
Cabrini gear every I'm literally wearing my Cabrini shorts right now. Like
like
I
shorts. I
wear
know.
that shit all the time. Um, I don't
Yeah.
wear St. Joe's gear around St. Joe's unless I'm like working a game. And that's how much I love Cabrini. But it really is like a fascinating thing, kind of thinking about we went through that kind of like last season, and then for you, you kind of almost get a redo, but in
So
a cool way.
yeah. So I almost viewed it as like a rebirth, right? Like, so I'm wearing number 2 this year, right? You got me. So when
Yeah.
over the summer, I was talking to coach, and it was like, all right, what number would you like to wear and all that? And he showed me what numbers were available. And since I was a senior, he allowed me to pick before the freshman did, which was very nice of him. Um, and 2 was up there, and I was upstairs with my mom. We were talking about it, and I think 45 might have been available. Actually, no, it's not. It's Joey Tesler, but a couple numbers in the higher, 40s, 39, a couple of those numbers. I wore 39 in club when I played for Coach Mita back in high school. So like that was available. I thought about that for a second. And my mom was actually the one, she was like, what about like 2? Like it's like your second college, like, like your second time around, like all that. And I was like, like I was always number 8 before Cabrini. So like went from 8 to 45. Was never a big fan of the 2 numbers on my back, even though I thought 45. I thought it suited me well, especially after it grew on me, I will say. Um, but I do like having the single number. And when my mom did say that, I was like, all right, like I can rock with 2. And then when I threw that on for the first time, I was like, all right, like I'm two, and it has 1,000 different meanings.
This is why I
So
love that we're doing this. I would have had no idea that that's why you chose to. I just thought you did it because either A, you're a huge Dan Bennett, Dylan McManus fan, or two, it just like looked really good. And like it does, it looks crispy on you. You look great in two, although I will say 45 would have looked way better.
yeah, I thought 4 or 5 did look good, but two looks. I think it looks really good. It is funny you say you bring up Dan Bennett and Dylan McManus. During that conversation with my mom, I was like, I've played with some pretty good twos too. Like Danny B was phenomenal.
Still one of the best pure shooters that I've ever played with.
That's point guard
Literally
I've ever
Paul
played.
Rabel.
Yeah, easily. And then obviously Dill was out of this world. Great
Our guy.
attackman. Um, yeah, I was actually meaning to shoot Dill a message recently. I'll do that tomorrow.
Well, he
But
is
yeah,
like one of the top Lax Lounge fans, so he's definitely listening right now, and he's probably just getting super sentimental wherever he is. So shout out you, Dylan McMahon.
I hope so. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. It's like I said, it was weird the first time putting it on. We did media day, so that like actually having the jersey on and like going through that, it was unique to say the least. Interesting, unique, whatever you want to say. But it was cool. It was cool to say. It was a cool experience. Last time around, different jersey. As weird as it is, still found like the beauty in it.
And well, Nick, you do forget, like we technically did have a media day last year. You just
We
didn't do
did.
anything with it.
Actually never seen a photo from that media day. I also don't know how fast I shot. So
We were just having that conversation. I kid you not, last night. I kid you not, in the kitchen. I brought that up because we're talking about how the PLO combine was going on, and the fastest shot in now PLO combine history comes from a kid from Seattle Prep. Anybody who knows Washington Lacrosse, Ode and Seattle Prep are the two rivals. We lost to them back to back years in the state championship. I hate Prep. Ironically, a lot of the kids I coach on my 28s, they all go to Prep. And that guy that I said I met this year and road trip down to Bend with, yeah, he's a Prep guy too. So like Prep people aren't that bad, but like I have a deep hatred for Seattle Prep as an institution. Regardless, he set and got like all this attention. We were talking about that, and I made the comment. I was like, I'd love to know how fast that I shot when we took an entire day of practice to see how fast we shot with our left hand, right hand on the run, doing this, that, and the other. Like I would have loved to know what that was, but
a shot under 90 miles per hour with our strong hands on the offensive side of the ball. That's what I remember. So that was nice to hear. I was like, all right, that's cool.
yeah, and like Shandy was the number one. He had the fastest shot over 100. Kersey
I
had
could
the
have
worst.
told you that without the speed gun.
I mean, yeah, pretty much a Shandy bomb. Ironically on Arcadius Field, the first big Shandy bomb that we had. But that's a long way of saying like that transition is really cool, and especially that first fall ball, because fall ball, like I'll be the first to admit, fall ball sucks. I hated fall ball. I don't know if you loved it or like still do love it, but I despise fall ball strictly because you were so far away from like the actual like meat and potatoes of the season where it's like the fun part of like, oh, we're preparing for game. It's literally fall ball is a grind, and like yeah, that's what it's for. Like you're supposed to grind things out and get better.
And
But like,
like,
holy smokes.
before you go, like, regardless, like, yes, I'm gonna like, even after Bruni, I was like still like giving it my all. But I almost felt as if I had like senior transfer coming in. Like, you got to prove yourself. It doesn't fucking matter where you're from. So like, first fall ball, first time coaches seeing me in their uniform, first time playing against their kids, like, you have to go balls to the walls. Like, you have to like ride hard. You have to shoot the ball well. You have to make good passes. You have to do like the small things right. And it's like that's the shot I focused on. And it did well. Like, not gonna
I
say I
didn't even
didn't.
think about that. That's a really good point. Like you kind of do because also you're coming in as like, we beat Arcadia last year. So put two and two together, like we should be better. And so they're probably like, oh, this fucking Cabrini kid comes in. Like they want to set the standard of like, you're not just going to walk all over our program. And you have to be like, hey, I want to make sure I earn my spot on this team.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And like, shout out this dude. Love this kid to death. Cameron Mang. He wants to be on. He's going to get on. He's going to get his fucking episode. Cam
Okay.
Mang, 115. I don't know if I said 1-5. He's a dog. He's fifth year. Kid's, he's fucking legit. Like, he's good. Great footwork, good stick, mean. but like nicest kid in the world. He's like Bear Evans, right? Like on the field, like you hate him. Off the field, dude, absolute GM. Um, we have this one drill. It's called what was it? Not it was upgrade 1v1s, and I went against a shorty on my first rep. Just took him down the alley, had a nice little overhand shot, scored. And then
Dog.
me and Kevin went up, and it was dude, it was a dog fight. He ended up, I went to shoot, he ended up stripping me. It wasn't like it was just a great rep both sides, and it was like fuck yes, like hell yes, like I love that. I don't want to like not downplaying Arcadia, but like it's so competitive no matter where you go. Like it doesn't matter where I would have ended up. I guarantee you Matt Williams at Frostburg State University, right? Like I
We'll go with that.
guarantee you
Yeah.
whatever. I guarantee you it's just as competitive there as it was at Cabrini, as it is at Arcadia. It's just the nature of sports. It's utterly competitive no matter where we go. And dude, it's so fun. The goalies, the one thing I'll say, no matter where you go, goalies are going to be the biggest dicks in the world because they have the best shit talk. They have the shit talk, dude. Whether it's Nate Hudgens, Joey Tassler, dude, even Joey Connolly gets in the mix here and there. Dude, they make a save and they just laugh at you. Like they'll laugh at you, throw a chirp your way. It's supposed to go in the net, not in my net. Like, dude, just
That's a really good one.
they're so it's so chippy. I got whacked in the wrist today. I was fucking sobbing about that earlier. Like just small things where it's like it doesn't matter where you go. I know Tommy Vaughn at fucking Lemoyne right now is it's just as competitive. Like it's the mindset obviously of it. Like how much you're gonna put into is what you're gonna get out. But like I truly think no matter where you go, it's still a battle.
My only qualifier to your statement about the goalies being good at trash talk, there's one asterisk. And I love the kid to death. I was hanging out with him this past weekend. Hunter Waldron is the worst shit talker on the planet. It, and it was like it was always comical because he tries so hard. And like there was sometimes where it was like, fuck, like that was actually a really good chirp. But it's Waldo, like it's not. Like if Skip said that, I'd probably just retire on the spot and like hang up my gloves. But we all loved Andre Waldron. And
Dude, that was my last game of the season.
oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Last game before conference playoffs.
And then you'll probably
But yeah,
see him again in the conference playoffs if everything goes right. Hopefully at
if
Arcadia because you'll be the higher seed.
I'm in the conference playoffs.
Cabrini rivalry coming on. My last question for you before we get to my
You're
final
number
thing is I want to know because I'm very curious about this one. What was the adjustment going from a roster of 27 guys at practice back to a roster of like 50 to 60 guys? Because when I walked by St. Joe's, the first time I walked by this year, I forgot that there was that many guys on a lacrosse field at once. Like I full blown, I was like summer ball practices are small, just pickup games are small. You see that many guys and you're like, how did we do this? So I want to hear what that adjustment was like for on the field.
So there's two sides to this, right? The first side is yes, big difference, right? You're going to get less reps regardless, right? There's just more people, time. You time every drill. Say like a drill's 10 minutes. Well, if it's a passing drill, you're going to get a shit ton of reps because it's passing, especially if it's full speed, right? But if it's a shooting drill and you have to re-rack balls and you do all this and that, you know you're limited reps. So from that aspect, yes, right. But the one thing, and I credit the upperclassmen because I think, and this is something I've talked to the coaches about, and like just talking to the guys before I even got on campus, like they have such great senior and like junior leadership on that team. It's actually like it's pretty phenomenal. Like I think it goes back to the coaches, but it's squad leaders. There's 12 of them, so you have 12 guys in charge of the rest of the team. Well, I'm not sure how we're doing captains this year. I don't know, obviously, but it's impressive. Just like the senior leadership that they have, they didn't allow it to be, oh, we're seniors, we're going to take all the reps, right? It was, hey, we're seniors. We know what we're doing. We know our offense. We know the defense. It's time to share the love. Like, hey, in come season, like we understand that. Hey, we are seniors. We know the game. We're more than likely we're going to be the ones on the field when it comes game time, right? Come season, that's how practice is going to be. It's going to be more structured and all that. But fall ball, it's all about learning, right? And I think what they did really well was, hey, we're not going to hog the ball. We're any chance that we're going to get our reps. Don't get me wrong, but let's make sure the young guys understand every aspect of the game. And I think it's It's impressive because I personally, my freshman year, I didn't get that at Cabrini. I didn't think. I thought it was very, very one, and we had a shit ton of people. Don't get me wrong, like we really did. Especially, I thought we were offensive heavy at Cabrini. Like we probably could have came up with like 6, 7 lines at one point, right? With an attack line on there. Like that's hella
With two
dudes,
attack lines, realistically.
right? That's a lot of dudes. Um, but yeah, I just think it's really cool that I think every single freshman knows offense and defense because I got there and they taught me the defense the first day. Like we had film sessions in the fall where it was, hey, we're not watching film, we're learning. We're going to go through every movement on offense, every movement on defense. What's the slide package here? What are we doing here? And it was cool. It was educational. I know every aspect of arcade lacrosse. Like I know the slide packages. Which why do I know the slide packages? Because if I get caught on defense, I should fucking know the slide packages. I should understand my position at all times. We shouldn't have to hop into a zone just because I'm on defense. Like the small things where it's like really cool. Same with the freshmen though. They all know the fucking rotations. Like pretty cool. Pretty cool. And I do credit the senior class to that. Like, hey, we allowed them to get the reps. We allowed them to have the understanding of that. So, kudos to those guys. The guys that have been
Yeah,
there and they've been through it too. So I think that's bottom up, top down, bottom up. It goes both ways, right? Like are the seniors allowing the freshmen and then when they become seniors, are they allowing the freshmen to do the same thing? And I think it's really cool. Really cool to see, especially like having that almost outside perspective.
yeah, that's so interesting because I was trying to think back to our freshman year and you kind of hit it. Like the only big like group kind of leadership style thing we did was like with our lifting groups, kind of where we had that like mini competition. It was only our freshman year and it was hard. Like being such a big group and what you say about like how you know the defense, like I find that hilarious because even like as I've gone into coaching now, when I took over for the younger kids, like I was now not just in charge of the offense, like I had to know the defense and I had to like be able to coach defense a little bit or at least kind of know what I'm talking about. And every time that I would give someone a defensive pointer where it's like, hey, like you should probably do this with your stick or that, I would always qualify it with being like, guys, I want you guys to remember this, not because I'm an unreliable source. My job when I was on defense was to get off the field. Whenever I got stuck on defense, I crapped my pants and I was like, what do I do? So it's like it's kind of astonishing that they established that really early because that is a game scenario you're going to need to know as a midi or an attackman without hopping into a zone and kind of just like sitting there and pretending like you know what you're doing. Like understanding, oh, when the ball is on the backside here, like I'm the pound guy who's covering the crease. I'm the two slide, or I'm gonna have to be the guy who bumps out and recovers on a like Utah rotation. Wow, that goes back to high school. That was a crazy pull.
I was doing
Um,
U practice the other day.
you did
But
what?
I was doing U-turns.
Yeah, exactly. So like a
Like
U-turn, and then like in high school, they actually did kind of teach this to us because we did need to know it. When I was playing MIDI, our U-turn was called Utah, and it was like only if
yeah,
they right. Shout out Eli Gilbert, great coach. Um, but yeah, wow, that is crazy. And we are cooking on time. Like I knew that this would happen. We would get into the flow of things and we'd be right back to where we were.
in my head I
Um,
was it's gonna be a good hour 30. But in reality, I knew it was gonna be like we're gonna edge close to 3. And that's fine.
I think that I definitely, if we can keep this to like an hour 30, hour 45, that'd be great because I do kind of have to get up early in the morning. Fun fact, we're filming this at night.
30 already.
Yeah, yeah, we're getting close. I mean, by the time I finish this story too, we'll probably be at 2 hours. JK, Illy. But this is going to be my number one moment from the last time that we talked, and arguably a top three moment of 2024. Not even arguably, it's definitely a top three moment of 2024, but it's arguably a top three weekend of my life. And this is the weekend where I got to go to Kenny Chesney's concert in Seattle and the next day, so I'm going to start with Kenny Chesney because there's something on Sunday that makes this like an all-time weekend. But like Kenny Chesney was electric. So context, we were like hanging out at number four Rubio's house, and we were like kind of just fooling around a little bit. And an idea came up to like get tickets to the concert. Tickets were reasonable. We got them right there, signed, sealed, delivered. Boom, we're going to Kenny Chesney. His teammate from Swarthmore, who lives in California, was flying up for that weekend too. It was actually his idea. So he came out with us we ended up like establishing this like small group. I think it was like 6 or 7 of us that were going to the concert. And this was like my second ever concert. Like, fun fact, my first concert was Lil Baby, and it was last year. Shows how much of a concert guy I am. But and honestly, I wasn't even that big of a Kenny Chesney guy beforehand. I'd known a couple of his songs. I just ripped the set list for like 2 to 3 weeks straight, just trying to get the songs down. And by the end, I could like sing along to a lot of them. So, am I a fake fan? Not really, because now I actually do listen to the songs and I do enjoy the music and I had a great time. But so
Oh yeah.
we go down to Lumen Field, which is where like the Seahawks play. It's our big stadium. We go down and like it's a country concert. Like we were having a couple beverages. We were 21 years old. At least me and we'll get to this in a second. But we get in and our first thing, like we're exploring around a little bit. We're taking pictures. We're having fun, enjoying ourselves. We go in and our clear first stop is like, all right, let's get some food and let's get a couple beers. So we go up to the concession stand, and the plan was for me and Aiden to get the drinks because we were 21, have IDs that show it. I actually have. I'll be able to have a prop for this one. We go up, the lady asked for our ID, and she's like, we hand her our vertical ID, and she's like, "Ooh, I can't accept this." And we're like, "Whoa, like, is there a problem with it?" So I end up going to another vendor that's like right over there, like one of those side kiosk guys, and same thing. I try to order a drink. Can I see your ID? Hand in my vertical, and he's like, "I can't accept this." And my thing was like, is it me? Like, am I too intoxicated? Because that's like kind of impressive. Like, I feel fine. Whatever. He's like, no, it's our policy. Like, we can't accept the vertical ID. It has to be horizontal or like your passport or military ID, something like that. So he hands it back to me, and me being ever the smart ass person that I am, I'm like, all right, what if I hand it to you like this? And he says, "All right, nice try, but like it's our policy, and like I just can't. Like I can see you're 21. I know you are, but like you're gonna have to if one of your buddies has a horizontal, like he can come grab two and then like hand you one, and I won't say a word." I literally laughed and I was like, "All right, I'll be right back." So I go grab one of the guys in our group who is not 21 years old and has a fake ID that says he's 23, 24, one of the two. I'm like, "You're coming with me. All right, let's get this over with." Go stand up, and I'm literally like, I'm a step away from him. He's kind of sitting there like this with a smile on my face. And he's like, "Oh, can I get two, let's say two tweez?" Guy pulls them out. "Can I see your ID?" Hands him the fake, looks at it, says, "Yep," hands it back. Perch sells to him. Friend takes one step away, hands the other to me, and I literally stood there laughing. I'm like, this is outrageous. And the guy was honestly a beauty. I'm not mad at him at all because he was like, I know, dude. Like, I can't do anything about it. It's company policy, it's stadium policy. I'm like, I literally told him, I'm like, I understand you're doing your job, but like, you have to admit that's outrageous. And he's like, I could not agree more. I'm like, great, I got my win. So, fun fact, as I cough, the rest of the night, the two 21-year-olds in our group did not buy a lick of alcohol at that concert. A lick. We did not buy a lick. Everyone else bought for us, which is like
Oh God.
kind of good because we saved some money. But like we also we're do Venmos, whatever. But like regardless, crazy. So the next part of this is we were like positioned up in the 300 section. Great head-on shot. Like it was, I think $60 a ticket. Awesome. Opening up for Kenny Chesney was Megan Maroney and Zach Brown Band. Phenomenal. Well, during the Zach Brown Band portion, we had one of our other friends who we coached with, shout out Carter Randall, Beauty. He was the guy who stayed with us for the national championship.
Yes, I will. I never met him.
You never did, but he saw you. I think he saw you like walk out of your room at one point. But Carter stayed with us for the Natty last year. Him and his roommate when they came down to Philly. That was honestly that story is even crazier, but that would take like an hour. The side cuts that we went on there. Um, Regardless, so we went over to where he was sitting in like the 200 section somewhere, had some open seats, stayed there for Zach Brown Band, was awesome, so great. And it was just good time being around great people. That's what I called it. We went back up to our seats right before Kenny came on. Somebody was like, "Hey, let's move over into this section." Like one of the other guys in our group was like, "Over there, it's scattered out." So it's me, Rubio, our other friend Liam, and his friend from Swarthmore We're just like aimlessly walking around trying to find this place. Let's say it's 271. So we're just strolling around Lumen Field, trying to find where we're at. And like, again, we got some beverages in us. We're confident. We're feeling good. We like walk through a couple doors. We're not thinking anything all of it. All of a sudden, I just start looking around and I'm like, boys, we're in the club suite section right now. Like, we should not be here at all, but we're not gonna leave. I don't know how we did it, Nick. We walked through a door, a random door that was unlocked for some reason, and we're just walking around. And I took one of the funniest point five pictures of my life where I was just like, guys, we got to document this. And we're just like in outside of a suite that people probably paid thousands of dollars for, and we had no chance of belonging there. Ended up posting up in like the club section for the entire concert to the left of the stage, right as he came on. It was incredible. And that is the power of side questing right there. Telling you, second
Hell
favorite
yeah.
word behind networking. We're not done there yet, though.
Oh, no, we're not.
After the concert, or like halfway through, near the end of the set list, we'll say this American Kids comes on. Amazing tune. If you don't know, it's queued up on Spotify. You probably heard it before. Insane. We sang every word to that. And afterwards, idea came up to go to this establishment down the road that is called Cowgirls. Cowgirls is a bar. We were ready for it. We were just like, let's do it. The original plan was not to go out. It was just like to go back to Rubio's house and like post it there. We ended up going to this bar. And on the way out of the concert, I kid you not, down the entire concourse, like the walking steps all the way down, we are singing American Kids back to back to back. We're screaming it. People think we are insane, probably, because we are just doing our own thing in our own world, having the time of our life. We get to Cowgirls, we stay there till the ass crack of dawn. We go home, and Nick, you know where I woke up on that Sunday morning?
Where'd you wake up?
So I was at the Rubio house, which like I knew would happen, and like I planned to. I usually sleep on the couch, that or like there's a pad in his room, whatever. Um, my theory is that I thought that I was going to, it was a brand new couch actually. We had built it that week, so my
Nice.
theory was that like, oh, I don't want to throw up on the new couch. Like if I do, who knows? Who knows what happened?
Nice guy.
Forgot to add this in, but my phone died at 7 o'clock this night, so I no phoned it for like the entire rest of the night. We're gonna resume where we were. Well, I woke up on a dog bed. I'll just spoil the ending. I woke up right next to one of his dogs. It posted up just on it was a memory foam thing. It was actually really nice. Like 10 out of 10 would recommend. Um, and I woke up to a phone call from from somebody who announced to me that Cabrini was closing. Nope, not that. No, see what I did there. But um, it was our friend Liam who called us and he was like, "Yo, like you guys want to come on my boat today or like my boat right now?" And my response, I literally said like, "Dude, I just woke up on a dog bed. I don't know where I am or what I'm doing with my life." From there, it was a day of dogs. And I say that because that Sunday, the day after the Kenny Chesney concert, where this turns into the greatest weekend of my life, I got to be there in person for the Corgi Racing World Championship. You heard me right. In Puyallup, Washington at Emerald Downs, they host the Corgi Racing World Championships. And I found this out a year ago when we were watching ESPN The Ocho, and it like came on. And we were, making mock bets on like, just all right, I got $20 on Toast. Oh, I got $20 on this guy, right? Just an in-house bet. And then I
Nice.
saw at the end where they're like, oh, like Emerald Downs, Puyallup, Washington. And I was like, boys, that is an hour away from us. And I vowed right then and there in that moment that I would be in attendance in 2024. And I gathered three of my friends to come with me and join me on this adventure. And we showed up, and it was the greatest $10 that I've ever spent in my life. You picture like what heaven is, you picture paradise. And I will argue that it is the Corgi Racing World Championships in Puyallup, Washington, because what a sight to see that day was. Do you know what the drink special was at this racing event, Nick?
Shoot.
It was a Corgi Rita.
What was in
It
that?
was the it was a margarita. Like it was literally just margarita. Nothing special at all. But I got to
Corgarita.
walk up to I got to walk up to a bartender, look him dead in the eyes, and say with the biggest smile on my face, "Can I get one corgi burrito, please?" And he knew exactly what I needed, and he served it up perfectly. It was the most mid margarita ever, but it was incredible for a corgi
That,
burrito.
that's
The final highlight of this will be by the end of the race, me and my friend group position ourselves to be right by, because this was streamed on ESPN 8 The Ocho. Like they had a sideline reporter, they had commentators. It was a full production. Another funny thing, I ran into some of the kids that I coach, and that was interesting, where I'm like standing in line for a Corgurita and I hear Coach French, and I literally was like, fuck, turn over, hey, what's up, guys? Um, but we positioned ourselves like right behind where the sideline reporter would be. And I was going bananas for these corgis. And like she'd come over and like do her thing, do her bit, and I'm like looking up on the screen, and then I finally see myself, and there's a video where it's clear on ESPN. You just see me like finally realize that I'm on screen, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. I start pointing at my Cabrini hat. I started a corgi chant where I was like, give me a C, C, give me an O. Oh, I swear to God. And there's another clip that got like on the thing. Well, two more, but one of them was I just started a raise your hand if you love corgis. I love corgis. And like three or four people raised their hand with me. And then the final one, by the end, I was literally just having as much fun as I could. I pulled up my LinkedIn and I just started like holding it towards the camera and I was like, connect with me, connect with me. I even asked the sideline reporter, like right afterwards, because I think she made a comment towards us where she's like, wow, you guys are bringing the juice. And I was like, yeah, that's what I do. Can I get your LinkedIn? And she was like walking away. She looked back and laughed and smiled. And I was like, I'm serious. I wasn't joking. Um, so that was my experience at Kenny Chesney's concert and the Corgi Racing World Championships. And if there's anybody out there that even like has an inkling that they would be interested in attending a Corgi race, especially like the World Championships, please do it. It is so worth the money. You also get to just watch horse races in between, which eh, like they were kind
yeah,
of just the halftime show, if you ask me. But the main event, wow. And the best part about it is it was four of four. The four people in our group, we all agreed that was the greatest decision we've ever made. Like we will, if I am back in Seattle, and I will try to work my schedule around this coming summer, so I will be in Seattle for the 2025 races because I am addicted to this and it is magical and I need more people to experience this. And that is why that was the number one moment that has happened since the last time that we recorded the Lax Lounge.
that sounds awesome. That
It is so
sounds.
much better than you'd think.
Oh, I noticed.
Like
I
it
can only,
sounds it sounds awesome and it is even better than you
I
would
can only,
think.
I
It
I need a Corgarita.
right? Like when I say I was overjoyed to walk in, and like I saw this a couple days earlier, and I was trying to rally, like I wanted hundreds of people to come. And there was a sick crowd. There was like a couple thousand people there.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a $10 ticket, like everything included. Um, you got to watch. It was mainly like you could have paid for the horse races and got corgis on the side. And if that is a like recipe for anything, like please get me involved in that. Um, but I
Greyhounds, right?
thought,
Never
yeah, I
Corgis.
tried to get so many people to come, and they were all like, "No, that's like so stupid, whatever." And I'm like, "All right, bet." Then
I would have came.
I was putting everything on my story, and I would talk about it the next week, and people were like, "Okay, yeah, that did actually look like really fun." And it's just like a great story. Like
That's a,
I get to say that the highlight of my summer, one of the highlights, was that I went to the Corgi Racing World Championships. Who else could say that?
not the national championships. We're talking
No,
the
no, no,
world
no.
champ
Like of the world. And I
of the
think
world.
it's the world because there was like one international dog, which mad respect.
From
Um,
where? Remember?
I think it was Canada, which would make sense. But
Right.
outside of that, ooh, there might have been one from Great Britain. There might have been one from Great Britain. But the other like
Wait
really
on there.
random, the random me fun fact out of this, I ended up knowing somebody who was a trainer of the dog. Like I went to middle school with one of the owners and I got to do a photo shoot with her dog. who won like the qualifying round and went to the championship and technically lost me $5 because I bet on him. But it was like an in-house bet where like they wouldn't actually let you bet on the corgis like at the thing, which
Yeah,
wow, was that a strong email that I wrote. But we just made like an in-house between the four of us. We put $5 on a dog, and my friend McKenna ended up choosing the winner. Milo Bigglesworth, great name, two-time champ
great name.
too. He's basically the Tom Brady of corgi racing.
Holy shit, the goat.
Possibly, possibly. You know,
That
it's a conversation.
wow. Yeah, I think I need some corgi racing in my life.
Everyone does. I'm telling you, everybody does.
Next time it is in Pennsylvania, near the Philadelphia area.
I think that there was one in Philly, like right
I missed it.
before break, I want to say. It might have also just been a dog show, but I don't know.
I'd rather the corgi racing than the dog show.
Oh,
Love dog.
they did it during halftime of an Eagles game. I did see that. Because also, I think the advantage of like that being part of my personality is that people will send me whenever corgis are doing anything at like any sporting event. So I'm always in the loop about like where corgi races are happening.
You're now in the corgi verse.
I am. Oh my God, I run the corgiverse.
That's
I
good.
told you about my passion. Raise your
You're
hand
the
if you
mod.
like corgis. I love corgis.
I like
There we go.
corgis.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're the moderator.
So that was the slowest fast five of all time, but holy shit, did that need to happen?
Slow
That was a
five.
great
Five. Great five.
five.
10.
Five, like mine was basically 10. Let's be real. I clumped a lot of stuff in.
It's perfectly fine. So we can review that, but I think we reviewed as we went.
Pretty much. No, I think like we got a good
From the outside perspective, the coolest thing, and I'm not discrediting your number one, but I think the Heisman, year in and year out, is a solid, if not the best pick to tell an audience. And honestly, after that came out of my mouth, I don't know if it's as good as the corgi.
that's
I
what
don't
I
think it
mean.
is.
Like those two are like fighting every single
Especially the
day.
day after any Chesney concert. That's where it's like
That's
you
where
had
it's an
that
all-time weekend.
weekend. Well, that's a worthwhile weekend.
I literally think I slept for like 13 or 14 hours on Sunday night going into Monday. I was so exhausted, but it was worth every
That's
flipping second. The other thing about that too is that the concert came at the end of the week of Cityside Camp.
ooh,
So it was like Monday through Thursday, you're working full days. And
yeah.
it's like you're working with kids, you're in the heat. It was like 90, 95 degrees. It was like the hottest week of the year. Um, yeah, so like it was an earned experience where it's like, wow, like we went in to the fucking battlefront for the last 4 days, and we came
Yeah.
out victorious. And you know what we get as a reward? We get a concert in Corky's. Name two better things that you
Can't
would want after a long week of work. I cannot, Nicholas. I can't. Oh, all right. I think that's enough Corky's talk. Um, So I think one thing that we do kind of need to pick up on right now is a little about like what are we doing right now? Like January 29th, 2025. What are we doing actively? So outside of being an Arcadia men's lacrosse player, what else do you have going on? School?
kind
Do
of
you have anything going on outside of school? Like fill us in.
yeah, I'm kind of just balls deep in my final semester. Um, the one thing I will say is like Arcadia, they really did help out the kids that did come from Cabrini, which is me, Gavin Leonard, Mason Leonard, and there's some men's basketball player, I forget his name, and then like a couple other people that I just never knew at Cabrini, but I like seen their faces and all that. But they've made it like really really easy for us. They matched all our credits. They got rid of they call them aux, but just our gen eds. So whatever we already did at Cabrini that they it would have been the same. They just canceled them all out. So I've been on track to graduate since I've got there, which is really really nice. So yeah, really, I'm just doing work now. I was telling you this before we started, but me and Jay Cav, the Cardinal O'Hara legend, and former Cabrini lacrosse player, also who transferred before it was cool. Um, he and I we're doing our final project together, and we're gonna do a video. Shout out John Doyle for all that mentoring and inspiring that you did. But yeah, we're doing a video, and we're gonna focus it around athletes, how identity and athletics go hand in hand within college athletics. I did my thesis paper in the fall on identity and the Wolf of Wall Street. So I just correlated identity theory with how Jordan Belfort lived his life, especially through Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie. It was pretty cool. It was about 17 pages of just absolute pure literature by your
Can
boy.
you send me this?
Yeah,
Can we put it in the comments below or like in the description so everybody can read this? Because that sounds like a masterpiece.
it was pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed reading. I had to watch Wolf of Wall Street a few times to really break down certain scenes. But yeah, it was pretty damn cool. So did a lot of work on identity last semester. I actually did it for another class. I did The Irishman with memory and identity. Irishman is a retrospective movie, 3 hours long. Scorsese, De Niro, dude,
You
that
just
was
watched
better.
movies all semester. That was your.
Actually, two movie classes this semester too. It's love communications. Gotta tell you, for a kid that wants to do sales, I'm watching way too many movies right now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm just a lot of work. So yeah, me and Cav, we actually the other day we picked up all of our equipment. Felt like a badass going in there. Like, hey, you got any Rhodes wireless mics? Like, I know my shit.
I
You
know
know
ball.
exactly. And the girl that was working the equipment room, she was great. She was just like, yeah, you guys are doing your senior project. Here's everything you need. So she hooked us up with that. I was actually over there. Fuck, man, might have been this morning, yesterday. I forget when it was. But we were just toying around with the camera, dude. Fucking big boy camera, about this big, like like legit film camera. Uh, so pretty cool to toy around with. Like really, really nice shot. Like when we turned it on, I was just like, whoa, that's really, really nice. So yeah, so we gotta maybe I'll interview you to see how being a non-athlete now has ruined you. Not ruined you, but like
Oh my gosh, no, it has not ruined me at all. But
I
it
know
has changed my life in a very interesting way.
exactly how like your identity throughout everything. I can get your entire crib with that. That'd be sick. But yeah, we want to do a lot of the teams. My goal, and this is like Jake is so on board with this. I really want to make it as diverse as possible because like dude, we have 26 teams at Arcadia. Like pretty cool. I mean, like we have men's volleyball, we have men's, women's ice hockey. Like we have a lot of teams to where like there's a lot of people that like, and we're gonna comb through and like find people that like we think either good connections we have or like people that we know are gonna give good interviews and really just go from there. But it's also like I think Cabrini was such a beautiful campus, but it was also small. And there was only so many things you could shoot there. Arcadia is a bigger campus, and in my opinion, it's just as beautiful. I think Cabrini was just so beautiful because of how small and like woodsy it was. But Arcadia is like more open in the middle, so has that woodsy feel in some of the areas. Like there's so many different aspects to it where like I've already like scoped out areas where it's like, oh, these are perfect B-roll shots. Like, oh, this is going to be a beautiful, just like anything. I've thought like I literally have the storyboard in my head, and I've had it in my head for the past couple weeks. So yeah, so that's kind of
Some
what I'm up to. Shit ton of work, and I don't mind it because it's season, got to get it done. But
That's going to be a
gotta stay.
lot of work for you in season.
It's my last one. It's my last one. It's fine.
That's fair.
It's fine,
That's fair.
dude. Once we get to the editing stage, it goes like this. Especially between the
Yeah.
two of us, like we both understand the editing process, like that aspect. I'll keep you tuned in, obviously. Like you'll be my chief editing, not my chief editing, but like you'll be
Chief
my
reviewer.
chief reviewer. There we go. Uh yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I think actually like where my head's at with it is really, really good. And then just other classes, it's just about showing up, getting the work done. I mean, like I said, I'm actually in two. The one's in async, it's world of film, the other one's world cinema. So like two movie
There's
classes.
there's nothing
Other one
better than being a comm major. I will die on that hill.
the other one's Loco Mag, which is our liquider. And then what's another one? or strategic writing for public relations, which this past week we've been learning how to write an AP style. Cake. Like good classes. Like easy. And I'm not saying it's easy, but like not a bad way to end my college academic career.
Shout out Jana Tridwell from AAA if we're talking about PR.
Shout out.
But that sounds like you're gonna have a good amount on your plate, but also like you get to kind of enjoy the cool classes you get to take as a senior.
Yeah.
Um, I also am in a similar position with St. Joe's where they took all of my credits, they matched everything. Like they're making it really seamless and easy for us to kind of like get in and get out. The
Yeah.
only like thing that I have to do is like I just have to get 30 credits from St. Joe's, so 15 and 15. Last semester had like a couple intro comm classes that I didn't have that didn't transfer over. The coolest class I got to take was called Business of Baseball, and it
What?
was literally a history of baseball class, and then it looked into the behind the scenes of like what happens to run a major league baseball team. Like we looked at marketing, we looked at sales, we looked at tickets, we looked at stadiums, broadcasting rights. My signature paper was a 15-page behemoth looking at the history of MLB broadcasting rights and then the current trends today. Spoiler alert, streaming's taking over. I have never had more fun. I can't even, okay, fun's not the right word. I've never been more passionate about a 15-page paper where I felt confident the entire time of like, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And at the end where I was like, holy shit, this is fucking good, then that paper right there. Um, so we both have a little bit of assigned homework reading each other's masterpiece papers. I'm not gonna
Hell
send
yeah.
it to you. It's so thick and rich. It's like it's a lot. But my professor really liked it, and I enjoyed it. But that was a sick class, easily my favorite one. Only downside, it was 2.5 hours, Wednesday nights, not ideal. But the professor really was a baseball encyclopedia. It's a little
Oh,
overwhelming as a lacrosse guy, where like he just pulled every statistic, person, and storyline out of his ass. He didn't have any notes. He would just kind of just talk, and like you could bring up a certain example, and he would tell you like what temperature it was at that day at this time. Like that
jeez.
that's the type of shit that he would pull out. Great class. Shout out Professor Lord. Got to like meet a lot of people from the Phillies too. Like he'd have people coming in guest speak for us. So that was really cool. If you guys know for those watching on YouTube, and Nick gets to see this, we had the Delaware or Trenton Thunder come by, and they are famous for having bat dogs that go and like get the bats from the bases. There's a whole E60 story that stars these people. I got to pet one of the bat dogs. I got to meet Rookie, who's the current bat dog for the Trenton Thunder, and that was one of the holy shit, I go to a real school moment where it's like that would never happen at Cabrini. Um, so that was really cool. What other highlights did I have for semester? That's pretty much all that I can think of off the top of my head. It was so actually I did hint at this earlier, the whole like you're a senior, but you feel like a freshman. So I get the experience of like the rush of everything for that first time, like I'm a freshman. And what I mean that is Nick said that Arcadia is like very different from Cabrini. It's like bigger and like it's got similarities, but like St. Joe's is so much bigger than Cabrini. I walk around and I don't know everybody that I'm walking by. That was an adjustment for sure. And like little stuff like the dining hall and like the food options that they have on campus, insane. Like it's
Yeah.
great. It's not the calf, it's not the grill. There's like this place that does teriyaki bowls, that does sushi. There's a Moe's. There's like actually palatable food. There's an Einstein Bros bagel shop right outside where most of my classes are. Like that's stuff that you just kind of take advantage of.
Yeah.
And a lot of the seniors that I talk to are like, oh yeah, I'm so tired of this or I'm so tired of that. And I'm like, I'm not yet. Like I'm still overjoyed that I get to walk across campus and it's like a long walk. Like I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of stuff going on or like kind of walking around the student center and it's like, holy shit, this is insane. So that's like a very interesting feeling and kind of connecting those experiences with other people is something that's hard to explain until you've gone through it and you're like, no, this is really cool. Um, And then kind of going into what I got going on now, I'm also in a capstone class and I will also be doing a big senior project and I'm trying to make it. I think the idea that I'm locking in, and I told Nick about this before we started recording, is I want to do another podcast, but telling the story of what happened to all the Cabrini guys after the last ride. And kind of a big thing that I want to do is have this idea of like an idea that my professor kind of told me is like, what does it mean to carry on a legacy of like a school, of a program, and kind of relate it to like a non-lacrosse thing about like just make this human interest story of like, this is what these guys went through and they had to move on. Like, how did they move on and how are they taking what they did with them? Like, how is that still there?
Yeah,
So still in the early process of kind of getting that ready and formalizing that. And actually, like right after this call, I will be filling out a little like daily report on what I did today, to
nice.
like move that project forward because that's going to be a huge thing. Another class that I'm taking that's really cool, sports media production, and the professor for the class. And again, this is why I love being a comm student. The professor for the class is the director of Hard Knocks, Stephen Trout, who
What?
works for NFL Films. And he is the
What?
director of Hard Knocks. He directed Quarterback, the Netflix special. He was
No
in,
way.
I not look it up right now. I just had the class today. He is the fucking man. You know what we did for class today?
What did you do for class today?
We watched Hard Knocks and we broke down the shot selection, his ideas for it, how he came up with these things. Like I swear to God, we watched documentary, like sports documentaries, and just like broke them down.
You watched film on him? You watched his
We
film?
pretty much watched his film. Like I love being a comm student. It's not even funny. Like I will always say that I go to school and I go to school and have fun. And there's also going to be a pretty big video project for that class that'll be like a whole semester long thing. So that'll be a lot of work. Um, and it'll be a lot of work because there's another kind of wrinkle. Like that's the only like crazy class that I'm taking. But one of the classes that I had to take to get to my like 15 credit minimum, it was microeconomics
Mm,
at
not
8
fun.
a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Not ideal. Now, Fridge, why on God's green earth would you take an 8 a.m. microeconomics class Monday, Wednesday, Friday as a comm major? Like, what are you thinking? Well, that's a great question. And I asked myself the same thing, but I know the context behind this. So, right before the semester ended, let's take it to November, I think early December, maybe. I was a marketing promotions assistant for the Philadelphia Flyers. Fancy way of saying if you went to a game and we were doing a giveaway, I was the guy handing you whatever the giveaway was. T-shirt, hat, we threw Snickers bar at Halloween. Cool little entry level gig. Got free tickets to games. Got to just like be there all dressed dapper, handing stuff out. Cool stuff. So one day, it was like afterwards, and I had to leave early. I wasn't staying for the game, so I helped out the director with taking some boxes up to the office. And like Wells Fargo Center offices are right there, so like went up to the club level, went through, dropped these boxes off. Well, further context, and I've talked about my like NIL deal that I had with the Flyers. Unfortunately, I no longer have that since I'm not an athlete. Nor but I saw the manager who like managed that program and I worked with the last 2, 3 years. Saw her in there, and so I was like, oh my gosh, great to see you. Started chopping it up with her, whatever. One thing leads to another, and she goes, we're actually hiring an intern for next year. Like, you should apply for that. And they sent out a thing to all the assistants about, you know, getting on board with the internship or like applying for it, and we'd get pushed through to an interview. And I was like asking her questions about it. All right, like I'm a calm guy. Like, would I be a candidate that you'd look for? Would it be worth my time? You know what? And she was like, yeah, like you should apply. We'll get you an interview, and we'll go from there. A week later, I had the interview. I take it from the St. Joe's Library. Fun fact, I got lost trying to find a study space in there. It is a
Okay.
lot bigger than the Holy Spirit Library. It was like my second time going in there too. Took the interview, did great, just kind of like was myself, whatever. A week later, I'm packing to go to New York for Heisman weekend, and I get a phone call from them. and it's my manager and the director that I was working with, and they're like, "We want to offer you the job. Like, you're our guy, but we need you to make some changes to your schedule." So they needed me to be available Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from like 1 to 5, and I happened to have like at the time it was a great schedule because I had like no morning classes. I was like pretty spread out. Like my Mondays and Tuesdays weren't that bad. Like it was an ideal schedule for me. Well, I needed to switch like everything around.
Yeah.
So I had to keep my core classes, these two con classes I had to take just like for the credit, and then I just needed two electives. One of the electives I decided was comm internship. I was like, perfect async, don't have to go to class, and I'll just get credit for this job that like I'm gonna be doing anyways. Money. Well, I needed one more. And the disadvantage of doing this like near the end of the semester is there was zero openings for the classes that did not require any prerequisites and were like introductory level or like the fun classes that, somebody would take as a senior.
Yeah.
Well, the one class that I was able to find was my 8 a.m. microeconomics course. And I literally like I got the call on Wednesday, and I had until the end of Friday or like by the weekend to kind of let them know or they'd offer the job to someone else. And it was right as I hit the register button for the class. I got it approved by my advisor, like made sure everything would work. I wouldn't screw myself over. Right as I hit register, I get an email. Hey, just wanted to check in, like see how that process was going. And I got to write the greatest email of all time, being like, as a matter of fact, I'm in, motherfucker. So I'm gonna finish up my third week tomorrow as a marketing intern officially with the Flyers, which has been
Fuck yeah.
such a cool experience. I get my own little desk at Wells Fargo. I have credentials. My fingerprint works in all the like buildings to get in. Like it's really fucking cool. It's a lot of power that I don't think I need.
That
But
is so sick.
I will be starting to work games coming up here in February. I have my first one that it'll be February 8th. Um, and that when I say work games, like I'll just kind of like manage the promotions that are going on from the marketing side. I get to dress up in a suit and tie, got a bunch of like cool little fits that I'll be wearing. And then the next Monday, the 10th, February 10th, I get to work a concert, Kelsey Ballerini. So I get to like
Nice.
do social media work for that and like just kind of be there on this, not on the stage, but like on the ground floor, like bouncing around. I'm really excited for that. And my homework for that Kelsey Ballerini concert has been listening to her album and the set list and like coming up with caption ideas. So I joke sometimes I'll like throw it on in the car on the way to class or like when I'm just driving to work. I'm like, ooh, I should like start my clock right now. Like I'm technically working. Like I'm really putting in some hours. So that's been a ton of fun and just like a really cool experience. So that's my what I'm up to right now and what we've got going on for this semester.
Dude, that is so sick.
It all happens so fast too. Like I kind of feel bad because I started my first day as an assistant
Yeah.
when we got like put into different places around the arena where we'd like be at entrance points. And the group that I was working with, I literally like right when we got there, I was like, all right, circle up. Like I need LinkedIn's, I need Snapchats, I need phone numbers. Like we got to get a group chat going. What are we doing here? Like let's have some fun. So I'm in a group chat with like 10, 15 of the other assistants, and we all applied for the internship. We all like everyone obviously wanted it. Some like kind of needed it more than others. Like we're post grad already. When I got the final offer and like officially signed on, I sent a text in the chat. I was like, guys, like my contract just got terminated. Like I'm no longer, we call ourselves promo pals. I was like, I'm no longer a promo pal. I don't know what to say. And I wasn't lying because they did terminate my contract, but it's so that they could, transfer me over to another role. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, no way! Like, what? How did that happen? What did you do? This, that, the other." Well, one of the girls in the chat is our friend Trent. I don't know if you know him. His girlfriend. And Trent, I told Trent he knew, and he told her, I think, and she was like, "Guys, he got the internship." And I was like, "Yeah, my bad." So that I got a lot of obviously like I got some congrats, but there was also some non threatening threats where they're like a big thing was we got these I actually have them right here. We never got real credentials, we only got these, if they want to go, we get these paper credentials for every game. And it was a huge thing where we'd be like, we sent in headshots, like we should get a real piece of credential. So one of the things, like as an intern, I have the real credential, and they joked, they were like, if you don't get us real credentials, we will find a way to get you fired. So like, have your head on a swivel. Um, for any promo pals listening, I talked to security. They can't get you credentials.
But you know,
Holy handsome.
but you know,
Wow. Oh my God. Marissa's
banging out.
so lucky. Oh, but yeah, so that's gonna be a really cool experience for this semester. Excited to see where that goes. And I mean, still not sure what my post grad plan is, but if I can, figure out a way to keep this momentum going and kind of hop onto something from there, like that would be really cool. And I'm truly enjoying what I do every day. And I'm still early on, so I was joking with my manager when I had my meeting. It's like, of course I love this because I've only been here for 2 weeks. Like everything's still fresh and like exciting for me. But I genuinely do. Like I look forward to going down there when I do every day that I have to work. And like today, I'm like, oh, I'm really excited for tomorrow. And like it's
Yeah,
gonna be really fun. It's just like it's a cool experience.
it is really
So
fun.
yeah, that's what we got going here. We are cresting up on the end of this thing, and also we're cresting up on my bedtime. So I'm gonna jump forward. We have a big week ahead of us, or like a big couple weeks, and
We
I'm gonna
do.
go towards your hat because you're wearing an Eagles hat, and the Philadelphia Eagles, fly Eagles fly. They are in the Super
Ah!
Bowl. They are playing the Kansas City Chiefs
Go
February
birds.
9th. Go Birds. I need some Super Bowl predictions from you. I can probably assume where you're going to go with this. And I also we just need a Super Bowl prediction from you.
I can't share my thoughts about Patrick Mahomes on the internet. Right? He's a good QB. Don't get me wrong. Kansas City Chiefs are great. I love Andy Reid. Obviously, he was a former Eagles coach. First coach that I ever remember as a child. Right? Big man. Could eat a lot of food. Had a really, really good team in Philly. Has a really fucking good team in KC. But we got Jalen Hurts. We got Devontae Smith. We got AJ Brown. We got a crazy good defense. We got Landon Dickerson. What Alabama, right? Like that boy bought a zero turn when his check hit. Like if you don't want a guy like that on your own line, then you're doing something wrong, right? Uh, I'm confident, man. I'm confident. Uh, truth be told, I love Josh Allen. I'm happy we're playing the Chiefs because I think the Bills would have gave us a harder game. I think the Chiefs find ways to win. I think that's why they've been so successful throughout the years. But I think Philly got it this year. I really do. I really do. I'm getting that 2018 vibe. And that's the truth. It truly is. I'm just getting that, you know, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. The city is not on fire, but we are explosive, to say the least.
And we're preparing for the fire. I
We
think
are.
before I put my prediction, Gers said one of the funniest things I've ever heard that is so accurate and so Philly. Regardless win or lose, there will be arson in Philadelphia. It is just a question of if it's happy arson or angry arson.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one I want to see more.
Excited and commit arson. Like it happens. Right.
I
Like
will we'll just throw
I
this out there. The Lax Lounge is anti-arson. We're not in favor
extremely.
of arson.
I've never been that happy to want to commit arson, but there are those type of people out there that they feel the joy and they can't help themselves, right? Yeah,
I
they
cannot
belong in
say
jail.
that I can think of a moment in my life where I've ever been like, arson sounds great right now.
Yeah, no, I can't.
But I'd
I
love to
can't.
experience one.
I can't
I'd love to
pinpoint
be
it.
there for one.
Yeah, I can't. I can't pinpoint it. But yeah, I mean, some people obviously have a different thought process, and that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. Um, but yeah, I think the city will burn in a good or a bad way. But I think Gers is right. The city will burn.
It will. I will be rooting for the Eagles. I find it fascinating that out of the list of players that you listed, kind of talking about like the stars of the Eagle, you missed one massive one who I think is you missed the guy who is going to win you this game, and that is Saquon Barkley, as
Yeah,
well
yeah,
as Cooper
duh,
DeJean. Because Cooper
duh.
DeJean is not a
I-
safety. He's just a
He's not
quarterback who will lock up your number one. Great song, by the way. Look it up.
who he is. Yeah, Saquon. Yeah, that's I did. I can't believe I missed Saquon. Yeah, he's probably gonna have like 5 touchdowns.
So Saquon, I think he is the key to the victory. And like that NFC Championship game was so impressive
Dude,
watching the run game dominate. And like I will say, Mickey Mouse NFC Championship game. You were playing the Washington Commanders. They got hot at the right time. Yes, they beat the Lions, but like every scenario went right for them to be there, and they're going to be good in a couple years. This was not their year.
insane, dude. Jaden Daniels is so fucking good.
He's the first quarterback to have 4,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards. And the only other one, or he's the second, I should have said. The only other one is Lamar Jackson. That's the list.
Like his upward
Impressive.
potential is it's so good. Yeah, and like I dude, like when he came out of college, I was like, I hope like you could see it, like you really could. Like he just had the
Mhm.
potential. He's really living up to it, which I'm so happy for him. Obviously, just happens to be that he's on an opposing team. So
It was right after that first game. I think that they either won or they lost close, and I was like, all right, this guy's legit. And I stand on that. But I am going to put the Eagles down for a victory. I'm actually the opposite take of you. I wish it was Bills Eagles because I feel like in that case America wins, like with the
100%.
game. And as a non-Eagles fan, like I win in that scenario. I'm like I want to see the Eagles win, but also like the Bills, if they won, I'm happy. If the Chiefs win, I get to witness greatness. That's awesome. But I will
Yeah,
be sad. I will be so super duper sad, and I will be in a city that is in pain for the second time in 2 years, 3 years. And I just selfishly want to see them win the Super Bowl so I can be a part of that celebration. Um, but I do confidently believe that the Eagles have what it takes to take down this Chiefs team because they are so ungodly mediocre, in my opinion.
yeah.
I don't understand how they're in this championship game. They literally have gotten there on, I think I saw this, if one possession games were like flipped. Like a game you won, you end up losing, but like a loss you win. The Bengals would be at the top of the NFC North, AFC North, and the Chiefs would be like middle of the pack in the AFC West. Like they may not have made the playoffs had the one score games flipped. So you're right. The Chiefs know how to win games, and I am a little bit nervous about Patrick Mahomes because he's been picking up his play, especially last week. Finally got to the 30-point margin, which here's another stat. The Chiefs were
They did.
the only team to not score 30 points all year until the AFC Championship.
Yeah,
This team's just not that good in my opinion, but they
they're
win
not.
games. And I
They
really
win.
hope we get a similar vibe to Super Bowl 57, where it was cutthroat, it was down to the wire, but we get to reverse history and the birds go flying and we get to sing the victory song and we get to mob. We're actually figuring out where we're going to be for Super Bowl Sunday, like as we speak. Wanted to go to Broad Street, but it will probably not work out because every place is sold out and it is incredibly overpriced. But that's a story for another day.
That is.
But I'm gonna say I won an Eagles victory, and I feel pretty good about that.
I'm very confident. I just think that we have all the pieces in the right spots this year. I think that one thing that we've done, and I know there's been, throughout the season it just happens, but I think that we've maintained relatively extremely healthy throughout the season. And I mean, I don't follow the Chiefs like that. I'm sure they have as well. Like, I mean, they got their big names still around, but I just think that week in and week out, the guys that are making the big plays are making the big plays the next week also, right? And I think that's just a really, really good sign, especially like we put 55 up last week. Like,
Crazy.
when does that happen in a fucking championship game? It doesn't. All
Never.
right. So that momentum moving forward and just like knowing what we have. And I think I don't want to jinx it now. I got some wood right here I'll knock on. But like Jake Elliott, man, like he's just gotta start banging them. That's what makes me nervous, man. That's what makes me nervous because I know the Chiefs, they find ways to win. Well, if we lose by fucking 2 points and Buddy's missed a field goal, like that's where he's not coming back next year. Like,
I found a crazy stat. I didn't find it. I heard it. A crazy stat. Jake Elliott has the best field goal percentage in NFL playoff history. He's 100%. He hasn't missed a field goal in the NFL playoffs. The best. Simultaneously, he has the worst PAT percentage in NFL history. He has missed the most PATs in the NFL playoffs.
wow.
Yeah.
So that's a mediocre thing. It's not a good or a bad thing.
It's like it's kind of crazy. It's like you're not good at hitting the easy ones, but if you two line up for a 50-yarder, like shoot, that thing's going down the middle. Some food
That's
for
that
thought.
that makes me nervous
Some food
because
for thought.
I saw him bang like a 50-yarder, like you said, and then I watched him miss a extra point where it's like, and I literally said before the kick, I was like, he's gonna miss it. Like, think wrong side. Like, damn it. I don't know. I'm not an NFL kicker. I don't know how hard it is, but
And luckily, I will never have to be an NFL kicker. But you know what I do get to do now, periodically, whenever I can, throughout the week, time, whatever.
kick a football as far as you can.
I could theoretically. I can do anything because I'm a narb, but I get to hop on a call and chop it up with Nick Mormando, and we get to bring the Lax Lounge back. This was awesome. We picked up right where we left off. Honestly,
That
it's
we
really funny because we have like a whole nother couple sections that we could have gone on, but I think we have to like kind of use this as our encapsulating, like this is what we've been doing, this is what we're up to type thing. And we jammed a lot of content into this. And I think we can save like some of our the big one is like lax. Like we didn't really talk lax. A little bit. We talked like arcade stuff, but like
oh yeah. I
this
mean,
is the life lounge today.
it was, it was, it
And it
was.
was much needed. And we would usually do a draft. I don't have one prepped, and I'll be honest, I am getting summoned by my roommates downstairs, so I should probably tend to that. And it's getting a little bit late. It's almost past my bedtime. And as we discussed, I have quite the interesting schedule. I don't get mornings. I don't at all. Um, but this has been awesome. Nick, any closing thoughts that you have from today?
Closing. I don't know, man. I think this was an amazing episode. I thought we really dug deep there.
It feels
Time
really
flies.
good to be back.
Time flies. Yeah, I thought that was like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
That's all right.
we are getting on I can see it is crossing to the 2 hour point as we speak. And that is how you know that we just had a good Lax Lounge episode.
That's how you
Um,
know it. Episode.
these are
Exactly.
basically like fun fact too. Like this is just like car conversations I have with myself. Like this is how I kill a road trip. Like I will
Literally.
have these podcasts, just me, myself, and I. I'll have the commentary here and there.
It's not a
Um,
bad way to do it.
hey, but it has been a while since we've done this. Um, I can't remember how do we sign this thing off?
We shout out someone very important.
Oh yes, yes,
He,
someone
he's
special to us, near and dear.
he's now he's now coaching the next generation.
And he always is. And I get to see him every once in a while at Team 10. He's going to be
Hell,
thrilled when I tell him that it's back.
Dustin was asking, bro. I told him. I was like, yeah, I was talking to Fridge. It's coming back soon. And he was like, I can't wait. So
We are
shout out
back
Dustin.
better than ever.
Oh, we got one more shout out. Fridgie.
Shout out Jules.
Shout out Jules. Fuck yeah.
Oh my gosh, cue the music.
Cue it.
Thank you everyone for listening. We will see you next time.
Hell
Godspeed.
yeah.
Yeah, I be stargazing, I be up in the clouds, but I won't come down cause I be too faded. Everybody wanna walk that talk, wanna talk that talk like we made it.